Mr. President of the Italian Republic, Mr. Chancellor of the University, ladies and gentlemen, the inauguration of the new Bocconi campus is more than just cutting a ribbon. It is the sign of pride and trust that Milan wants to give back to Italy as a whole. I would like to greet the President of the Italian Republic. Today, Mr. President, Milan shows you the pride and the energy that we want to make available to the whole country, for youth, for culture, to make the country more attractive. Simply what the world expects from Italy. I would like to greet and thank Gian Mario Verona, the Chancellor, the President, Mario Monti, the teaching staff, the Italian and foreign students. Opening a new premise of the Bocconi campus to give 2,400 places in classrooms and more than 2,000 places to stay, an auditorium, 2 swimming pools, the gyms, to all students and to the city, means building the future. An open future, a beautiful, radiant future like this premise, a future that is made up of young people and greenery. This place is a place for students and it's environmentally sustainable. This is not just a slogan. Youth and green cannot just be underestimated as subject matters. This is not just decorations of strategies that are focused on other topics. This is true for cities and for countries as well. We need to be far-sighted. We need to look at the future even on these occasions. Young people and the ecological transition may be the guidelines to rebuild the Italian growth. The European Commission approved our financial law, but they specified that we are the last country in Europe in terms of economic growth and demographic growth. And even as far as environmental policies are concerned, we are lagging behind. Too many cars, too much CO2. Too many hydrogeological problems. This looks like the face of an old country, a tired country. Unfortunately, today, Italy is a little tired, but Italy can make it. I am speaking as a mayor of Milan, a city that refuses to be considered as an independent state, but which wants to put at the disposal of the country its experience. Meanwhile, we are going to carry forward. We don't want to be just the best in class for the sake of being that, but we are going to work without being too tired. This campus shows all the elements of the development of the city of Milan. This campus enhances the value of the area with the requalification of former industrial areas through investments and actions that are sustainable. This campus brings to this territory the cultures and the languages of the world. The campus makes the city grow because it creates a link between the center and the lower area of Milan, in the area that it is immediately adjacent to the main traffic route. This campus is very attractive and it's going to be the pride and joy of one of the best universities in Europe. It's a campus that increases the possibility to receive and host students. This is one of the aspects where Milan can do even more, and certainly this is one of my priorities, from the area to the world, with all the levels of growth that are lit and operating at the same time. This is the way you make a city and a country grow. As a mayor and as an Italian citizen, I would like to share this will to make better for us and for our children and for the future generations. We can make it. This enthusiasm is the only possible premise for the other great challenge Milan is working on at the moment. the struggle, the fight against inequalities. Inequalities are fought by creating opportunities on the territory. For example, opportunities for study, for enterprise, for growth. Growth that helps those who are lagging behind. This has always been the Milan's masterclass. We cannot have a short blanket. We need to have a larger blanket so that we can increase the number of people that can be covered by that. We need to open campuses. We need to support those who want to attend them, those who do not have the means, but those who deserve to attend these campuses. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for being present here, because you understand the decisive elements between the development of the city of Milan and the country. Milan is there for a new country that is open, that is trusting, and that is thinking about the future. Thank you very much.
Fa ingresso il Presidente.
The President of the Italian Republic enters the room.
We are open to a new academic year full of opportunities. We are ready to restart from our successes and reach new objectives, because challenge is in our DNA. We are open to innovation, and we believe in open knowledge, rigorous research, and entrepreneurial energy. We never stop learning, because we are always asking new questions and looking for innovative answers in the realm of the social sciences. We are open to everyone. Students, teachers, alumni, world citizens. All of us can help build a better economy in an open society that nurtures inclusion. Because anyone can be the protagonist of cultural and economic ferment, and all are enriched by an open-minded attitude. We are open to Milan, because we share the same international perspective, the same respect for diversity, the same smartness and desire for innovation, the same attention to sustainability. And this year, we are open to share our new urban campus with the entire Milanese community. Welcome to an impressive new zero-emissions complex that includes a striking student residence, plus a high-tech building purpose-built for one of the best business schools in Europe, Bocconi School of Management. Citizens, students, and guests can join us for fitness and relaxation at the modern Recreation and Sports Center, and stroll in a 17,000 square meter green area. We are open, and we are proud to start down this new path with all of you. Bocconi, knowledge that matters.
Ha inizio l'inaugurazione dell'anno accademico.
The opening ceremony of the academic year 2019-2020 officially begins. We give the floor to the Senator Mario Monti, President of Bocconi University. Dear Mr. President of the Italian Republic, you represent for us in Italy and in Europe a reference point that is strong, that is mild and reassuring. That is why, with deep affection, we thank you very much. For this reason, as we welcome you to open a new challenging chapter in the development of Bocconi University, we feel privileged and honored and also comforted. On behalf of the Chancellor, Mr. Verona, the Managing Director, Riccardo Taranto, and on behalf of myself, I would like to thank for their attendance the Deputy Chair of the Constitutional Court, the President of the Lombardy region, the Mayor of Milan, the Archbishop of Milan, the Prefect, all the civil, military and religious authorities, the kind distinguished guests and the members of the Bocconi community, starting from you, dear students. I would also like to greet one of my colleagues, Senator Liliana Segre. Her voice, that is always reserved, highlights the memory that was forgotten or denied. It awakens consciousness deeply. If Liliana Segre is alive, it is a gift of fate. if she has such an influence on the soul of Italians, we owe that to you, Mr. President, because you had a great intuition to appoint her as life senator. With the new president, Bocconi has completed its campus. The building where we are now, with this great conference room, was inaugurated in October 2008 with the then President of the Italian Republic, Giorgio Napolitano, that we would also like to greet, as we remember with gratitude his frequent visits to the university. Two years, 2008 and 2019, that are associated to negative phases of international economy. The beginning of a considerable downturn in 2008, a slowing down of economic activities in 2019. In both cases, Bocconi University wanted to respect the mid to long-term plans without being influenced by the pessimism of the markets. Our investment policy was an example of anti-cyclical orientation. Today, we would like to convey a message that starts from Bocconi University. We can trust Italy and Europe. We do trust Italy and Europe for a growth, economic growth and civil development. Specifically in Italy, it is important to invest more and better on the training of human resources. We do that. Europe in the world and Italy in Europe need to become more competitive in the training of human resources and in research activities. That is what we want to do. As our other structures in Milan, we are doing that, but we want to go beyond. When our board of directors, upon a proposal given by the chairman after consultation, appoints the chancellor, there is an agreement with the chancellor for his mandate. The mandate reflects the peculiar cultural sensitivity of the chosen chancellor, as well as the long-term objectives defined by the board. The mandate also indicates the ranking at the international level for the university and its main organizational structures that the chancellor considers realistic and that he commits itself to achieve. In his report, Mr. Verona is going to talk about this topic. He is very successful in leading the teaching faculty with the essential contribution of the administrative staff that is motivated and led by the managing director, Taranto. Among the competitiveness indicators and ratios, I would just mention two of them. The first one is related to reputation and attractiveness, quantified on the basis of numerous parameters. Bocconi University is number 4 in Europe and number 1 if you exclude the United Kingdom. Well, they excluded themselves, and it's number 16 in the world among other universities dealing with social sciences and economics. If then we check the second indicator, which is the ability of Bocconi to attract students, not necessarily from abroad, but from countries that we consider more advanced and dynamic than our country, we observe that 41% of foreign students come from France, Germany, the United States, and China. In the last 5 years, French students in Bocconi, Mr. Ambassador, have increased by 33%, the German ones by 42%, Chinese more than doubled, Americans almost 4 times more than in the past. In 2020, we will complete the 5-year strategic plan. We are now preparing the new plan that is going to reach 2025. and this is not paradoxical. This is going to start from the exploration of raw scenarios that can be imagined for 2030. We entrusted the Deputy Chair, Andrea Sironi, the task to coordinate the activities that see involved the Chancellor and the Managing Director, which are going to involve the whole Bocconi community. I would like to remind you that the beginning of planning in Bocconi was at the end of the 80s, greatly anticipating the rest of universities in Italy. The then Chancellor and Managing Director, Professor Luigi Guattri, that I hoped would be with us today, but probably he was too emotional to meet so many personalities, including the President of the Italian Republic. But I spoke to him on the phone and I said I would say something negative about him, like the ones I'm going to say today. Luigi Guattri has celebrated the 70th anniversary of his graduation. He is the honorary chairman of the university, whereas Angelo Provasoli was called to preside the Javotte Institute. The administrative management was extremely precise for decades, and we owe him the robust and solid position of the university that made it possible for the institution to face all the investments of the last few years. A few minutes ago, while inaugurating the new campus, I reminded that all the people who were involved in the creation and building of the new complex represented 47 different nationalities. Coming from 99 countries, that we have students and managers already attending Bocconi courses. Openness, inclusion, diversity, merit, tolerance, these are some of the values that were mentioned in the sermon of the Bishop Delpini, and I am grateful for that. These are values that nurtured the growth and competitiveness of a small university community and of a great country. They contribute to the affirmation of Italy in the world. They generate a natural respect for our country without pathetically expecting respect from others. These are the foundations for true solidarity that is not faltering like the ones that is based on public debt for future generations. In Bocconi, we feel that these are our own values. These are the values on which the European Union is based. That's the reason why our university considers itself European. Let's try to be increasingly more European with the civil spirit that pushes us. As far as the first aspect is concerned, let's not forget the encouragement of President Napolitano on the occasion of the opening ceremony 2006-2007, highlighting the importance of the European integration within the framework of training and research. He said that for our universities and research institutions, the opportunity to become more attractive and to operate outside the boundaries of Italy, thinking about the distinctive traits of the first universities in Europe that were communities of students and academic staff coming from the most varied areas of the continent and the world. Since then, we have done a lot at European level as a whole. It's the case of the European Research Council for Research, and it is the case of an initiative called European Universities, launched by the Commission to promote the cooperation among European universities to create international alliances, to create the universities of the future, to promote values and European identity, and to revolutionize quality and competitiveness of higher education in Europe. Bocconi has joined with enthusiasm with a consortium called Civica to create, together with other 7 prestigious universities, the European University of Social Sciences. As for the civil spirit that moves us, we feel strongly a commitment that I reiterate, the commitment to fight each and every one of us with the civic sense that Milan and Bocconi have, to make it possible for Italy to acquire once again self-respect and confidence, to give the European Union the authority that sometimes some countries are reluctant to recognize. Mr. President, you insisted on this item on the occasion of various speeches. The last one was one that I considered extremely systematic and persuasive, that you delivered at ISPI on multilateralism. Speaking about Europe in a university room, it is natural to think about the patient work of pedagogy on Europe that you, Mr. President, are always carrying out with public opinion. Sometimes we see that, sometimes we can just imagine that with other Italian politicians, with persuasion or with remarks. Sometimes in difficult situations you were able to make our political forces more aware of the fact that the fact that Italy belongs to the European Union is not just a fulfillment of an ideal that is shared by many Italians, but it's also protection against external turbulences and a stimulus for more careful decisions for the future. In that sense, I would say, besides making Italy more European, you avoided some very dangerous bends. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We give the floor to Professor Gianmario Verona, the Chancellor of the Bocconi University. Mr. President, Deputy Chair of the Constitutional Court, Mr. Prefect, Mr. Mayor, religious, military, civil authorities, Chancellors, Chairman, Deputy Chairman, Managing Director, ladies and gentlemen of the Board of Directors of Bocconi University, dear colleagues, teaching, faculty and staff, alumni, partner institutions, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to join first of all the words of Professor Monti, thanking you for being here at the opening ceremony of this academic year. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for participating in our opening ceremony in a year that is extremely important for our community. And thank you very much, not just for the extraordinary work you did over the years, but for the example of strength, balance, and fairness that you provide us with every day. 2009 was certainly a complex year from the political, social, and economic point of view. Posterity will probably remember it as the year when we started a second Cold War involving this time United States and China. The year of Brexit showing all its contradictions, the year where we have turbulence on the geopolitical front from Latin America to Asia, the year of negative banking interest rates, the year when with deep fake the combination of artificial intelligence and social media shows its darker side, the year that in July had the highest temperature in modern history. Unlike what it looks like, We would like to see 2019 as a turning point, a year in which sapiens understood how it is not appropriate to trivialize the complexity defining contemporary world, and how much, on the other hand, we need to have consistent solutions with the growing complexity of society. We would like to read 2019 as the year of awareness and openness to complexity. Recently, it seemed that the growing complexity of the world could be dramatically simplified. We have a Western world that struggles to grow, and the answer from political forces was the closing of the borders. The United Kingdom wants to have greater margins of autonomy, and the response was a no-deal Brexit. We have a single currency that struggles to sustain growth at individual nations level. The response was the return to local currencies. In general, against this complexity that requires greater competences, the answer seemed to be the naivety of ignorance. A simplification may be introduced by the times, the binary logic of the digital world that invades us with social networks and seems to force us to express our opinion on every topic with a thumbs up or thumbs down. In the calendar year that is going to finish, we seem to give the right weight to the complexity of the world surrounding us. This is extremely positive. 2009 is the year we talk about how to make the euro compatible with the sustainable growth in different countries. The year where we see the first signals of a changing of the attitude on the topic of immigration. The year in which Europe is recognized to have taken a great step in the regulation of the digital world. This greater awareness also is related to the topics that since 2002 have been the interest of Bocconi. Economics is in its nature a complex science. Since we started studying economics with Adam Smith in the late 18th century, economics deals with the study of choices that are aimed at adapting scarce resources to the needs. Unlike other sciences, economics doesn't have the possibility to have laboratory experiments and uses tools that have become robust only in the last few years. Even if we wonder about the complexity of the context in which economics operates, over the years we have developed an egocentric image focused on the individual, the so-called Homo economicus. Only recently we have acquired full awareness of its impact. For example, at the end of last year, the Nobel Prize was awarded to Bill Nordhaus for the work carried out on the understanding of how economic incentives may contribute to the world climate policy. This represented literally a breath of fresh air for economic studies. And I would like to say that our professor, Valentina Bosetti, has worked for a long time with Bill Nordhaus and has recently been awarded the European Research Council on the subject matters of climate change. The choice made by the Swedish Academy has then started a new trend for social sciences. The Nobel Prize for Economics was given to Banerjee, Duflo, and Kremer, thanks to the seminal work carried out on the fight against poverty. Once again, Eliana Laferrara, our professor, he has written works with the two of these Nobel Prizes and has started a research laboratory together with the Foundation Romeo Invernizzi on the fight against poverty. A very important aspect is that this openness at the macroeconomic level is also true at the microeconomic level. For many years we have considered that the main focus of an enterprise was to create value for shareholders. This interpretation often translates itself as profit. The simple difference between revenues and costs. Probably the main conquest of the 20th century, which went through so many struggles where we had liberal capitalism as one concept, and then trade unions struggles, and then struggles for consumer rights, and the extreme globalization of the last 20 years has widened the interpretation, and we have now understood that the enterprise is not just the benefit of the individual shareholders interested in profit. The company works works for all stakeholders working for them and the stakeholders that benefit from that. This conquest had made it possible to develop in the last 20 years a literature that is devoted to sustainability and social responsibility. The main driver of this cultural change is certainly due to financial crises that have hit global economy. An important driving force has also been the ones of our students, those who were born after 1997, the so-called Generation Z. The most symbolic case is Greta Thunberg and the protest Fridays for Future. Like Greta, our students wonder daily what is right and what is wrong when subject matters have to do with economy. And with this new awareness, we have lit a beacon in 2019. First of all, the letter written to the managing directors by Larry Fink, the founder and president of BlackRock. He asked the CEOs to have a purpose for their enterprises, going beyond the simple profit. It's not a case that the ESG acronym, Environmental Social Governance for Investing in Funds, has become ever more common even for long-term investments.
Secondly, the manifesto of the Business Roundtable of last year, involving 181 managing directors of corporations, that formalized in an agreement sustainability. In the document, signatories commit to offering value to their customers, investing in employees, fostering diversity, inclusion, dignity and respect, dealing fairly and ethically suppliers, and also supporting communities. This kind of focus leads to an imaginable opening compared to the past. But unfortunately, it also leads to new paradoxes of complexity, the solution of which will be pivotal to finalizing some modern and consistent response. For instance, how can they pay more workers keeping prices low so that access is ensured to products? How can sustainability be ensured of productive processes without jeopardizing work in companies? And among the numerous paradoxes, one is particularly relevant for the future of society. How can we have artificial intelligence lending sustainably? The coming of AI is one of the main challenges for policymakers and managers. The prejudice that risks to, of course, jeopardize its dissemination is the fear of loss of jobs and skepticism towards technology, which is increasingly invasive in everyday life. And its pervasiveness leads also to something else, the impact of cryptocurrencies compared to some tools of regulation and monetary policy. Something is common to these paradoxes, the lack of a new culture and a knowledge that can see advantages where disadvantages are seen. And before the change that is brought about by technology, global warming, disequality, inequality, universities must get out of their tradition where the various disciplines are separate from each other to integrate knowledge. And only by having managers and citizens aware of new languages and new needs, we can be winning in our challenges. Following the motto that we have inventing knowledge that matters, that thanks to artist Lorenzo Pietrantoni last October became a work of art, contemporary art at the outside this building, we have the ambition to contribute to these changes and innovation to provide response, sensitive and sensible responses to the future of students, researchers, and citizens. We can take up this challenge relying upon our solid tradition and results that Bocconi has achieved in all the different areas of scientific production, teaching, and impact on the employment market. Let me mention three indicators: international rankings that President Monti has already mentioned, and also in social sciences and management, we are 16th in the world. The ability to attract funding for research, we rank first in Italy with 35 ERC grants, and whereas we are second with the London School of Economics. And also the rate of employment of our graduates, which is equal to 95%, 27% of which abroad. The increasing awareness of the challenge of AI led us to invest in data science and computer science, and we did that following our usual strategy, starting from research and human capital to launch new educational products. For 3 years, we have been including in our offer some courses in applied mathematics, theoretical physics, IT sciences, and data science. During this year, we launched Artificial Intelligence Lab, headed by Professor Riccardo Zecchina, aimed at studying AI algorithms. We've also launched Data Marketing Inside, guided by Professor Dirk Hovey, to study the impact of big data in the wide marketing area. If in 2016 we launched the university course in economics management and computer science, and in 2018 the degree in data science and business analytics, this year we started in collaboration with Politecnico University of Milan, that I would like to thank, a degree in cyber risk strategy and governance. This degree is unique on the international arena and combines human and technology. And we've had an extraordinary response for businesses. We would like to thank them for the scholarship, NTT Data, Cisco Replay, Vodafone Intesa Sanpaolo, and KPMG. And I would also like to stress that 50% of this course involves women, girls, which of course, goes against the theory that STEM is not female. We have also launched a new 3-year bachelor degree starting from next year, aimed at training experts in AI. This course, called Mathematical and Computing Sciences for Artificial Intelligence, is part of the important ministerial experimentation related to the new category Science and IT Technologies, but also Physical and Mathematics for AI. We will also extend our PhD in Statistics, guided by Professor Anton Lioi, which has been called PhD in Statistics and Computer Science, to train students in computer science. Among the goals that we have decided to achieve, we also want to accelerate startups. Thanks to the Protector for Innovation, and I'm really grateful to Professor Marcus Venzin, and also with the contribution of the members Vittorio Colau and Diego Piacentini, we have decided to allocate more resources to entrepreneurship, leading to Bocconi for Innovation, and accelerate and supporting a better thrust to innovation. 90% of Italian startup companies are still working after 5 years, and at face value, it seems to be a positive figure, but the doubt is that it conceals the lack of sufficient innovation. And Europe has been overtaken by China and the States, and by their developing and marketing of new technology and business models. The ranking of scale-ups of 2019 places Italy at the 11th place, and the three ecosystem of UK, Germany, and France is wide. And therefore, instead of celebrating our rate of survival of 90%, we should reflect on its meaning. Such a success rate indicates that we have not been aggressive in pursuing our ideas, and we cannot fail quickly to start again. It seems that Italian startup companies prefer to die slowly, following ideas and incremental innovations. But Italy is not still. It is trying to make up for lost ground in terms of assets gathered and incubators, and the region, the Lombardy region and Milan are the flagships of what we have done in the country, especially for technological transfer, in the light of our expertise, not only in the production of algorithm, but also in the strategic, financial, and commercial component. We want to provide support to acceleration of startup companies. Areas where our accelerator will take place is digital tech, made in Italy, and sustainability. Acceleration, which will last 4 months, will be open to 30 startup companies every year, and they will be provided financial support, mentorship, support in creating contacts with investors, and support in developments. This will rely on an important partnership called the City Foundation, Henkel-X, but also Istituto Italiano di Tecnologia, Milan Politecnico University, and Milan Università degli Studi, and I would like to thank them. The evolution implemented by Bocconi was facilitated by the enhancement and inclusion of its human capital. In 2019, Bocconi has 15,000 students coming from 99 different countries, and today 60% of courses is held in English, and these courses are on average attended by 38% of international students. In SDA Bocconi classrooms are hosting post-experience courses, 12,000 managers coming from 75 25 different countries have participated in this training. And this is guided, and these courses are not provided only in Milan, but also around the globe. And today we have also traditional Western destination, but also Asian and from Africa and Middle East. SDA Bocconi is part of the 90 business schools in the world out of more than 10,000 schools that have received the so-called Triple Crown, crediting the three main world body, AACSB, AMBA, and ESCRIS. And thanks to the development of courses, according to the Netflix model, as we call it, the international exposure and impact in training take a step forward. Regarding faculty, we have 365 professors, 31% of which are women, and 19% of which are foreigner. Diversity of academic roles is pivotal for the future. To increase the university has committed to recruit 8 colleagues on international market, women, the first of which, Professor Catherine De Vries, an international expert on political sciences, will start in January 2020. You will see the different welcome that we have decided to give and the universities of origin. And this year corresponds to the 20th anniversary of the Faculty of Law in Bocconi. For the very first time, we have participated in the Association of American Law Schools in Washington, D.C., to also recruit some colleagues in the law market, in the international law arena. Besides maintaining a system where tuition fees depend on income, family income, in 2019, 30 million euros were provided to support our students. And I would like to thank individual donors and corporate donors supporting the campaign called A Possible Challenge, una sfida possibile, that next year aims at raising 120 million euros that we consider not to be achievable until some years ago. I would like to thank in particular the Bocconi alumni community, guided by President Riccardo Monti, and the campaign board, guided by Enrico Cucchiani, who are involved in many of these activities on the engagement of over 120,000 alumni in 166 different countries in the world. And we have 800 individual donors that have supported Bocconi and 100 partner companies and supporters. Among this funding, I would like to highlight the different chairs that have been launched. This year, we have added 4 new chairs that we have and have reached 19 different ones. I would like to mention Al Gerber's chair in long-term investment and absolute return, given to Professor Stefano Caselli. Intesa San Paolo chair in economics of financial regulation, given to Professor Donato Masciandaro. KPMG chair in accounting, given to Professor Annalisa Principe. Luxottica chair in Chinese market and business development, given to Professor Fabrizio Peretti. Bocconi keeps exploring complexity through scientific research. This year, thanks to our professors, we have consolidated our average pattern of quotes with an increase of 17%. The H index has almost tripled compared to 10 years ago. And also the number of professors working as editors or associate editors of important magazines has increased from 24 to 32. Also, our ability to attract public funding for research is really important. We have already mentioned the 15 print we won and already mentioned 35-year C grants. Investment in research and in corporate social responsibility has allowed getting skills and launching courses and specific programs. Besides our effort in environmental themes in the different degrees, our Master in Green Management, Energy and Corporate Social Responsibility has ranked third for the first for the third time in international master courses on sustainability. But also we have other courses, and the Foundation Romeo De Rica Invernizzi funded Agri-Lab of SDA Bocconi, focused on the agribusiness industry. Among the first results, a massive open online course that will be distributed on the Coursera platform, extending to 11, our offering of the so-called MOOCs. And the support of Equita will allow in establishing an important laboratory on capital markets to understand its operation in this particularly complex regulatory and management situation. Increased complexity and knowledge linked to scientific research and university training education requires the creation of alliances and consortia representing a model internationally. The historic opening of Bocconi to networks was extended, as President Monti said, Civica, but we also have 4 more alliances. We have subscribed U7 Plus, an alliance of 48 universities aimed at informing on the main themes on the agenda of policymakers. We have been admitted to Global Network for Advanced Management, founded by Yale University, a network supporting mobility of students in the main 30 business schools of the world. We have participated in ALEWES, a network founded by Mannheim University aimed at developing cooperation of the 12 main universities, European university, and we have participated in creating Apelia, aimed at fostering cooperation in legal studies. Between 2016 and 19, the number of partner schools of the university increased from 259 to 281, and the network ranges from North America to Asia, and in particular the double degree programs allowing to get a double degree from the different institutions in 2019 achieved 33 partner schools. Let me mention the Master in Politics and Political Analysis, developing 2 degrees with Sciences Po in Paris and London School of Economics, and another very prestigious agreement was signed with IIM in Bangalore, a double degree with Guangzhou School of Management of Peking University, and also another double degree in the legal field involving Fordham Law School, Indiana School of Law, and Maastricht University. The awareness of challenges, future challenges, led us to imagine 15 years ago a campus, a university campus in the heart of Milan, a city that is being transformed, as our mayor, Beppe Sala, said, in an ecosystem that goes beyond the border of the world of fashion design and finance that has made it well known all over the world. The new campus that we have just opened will host the student residence and also a sports center that will be open to everybody, which proves how Bocconi is open to the city of Milan. Designed by the Sana Japanese cabinet, and that has involved the 2 architects in the ceremony that won the international tender of 2012, the new campus will allow citizens to get back their former municipality data center as the integral part of a green system. The new campus is particularly sensitive to the environment and also in technology, thanks to the implementation of the Internet of Things, so will make the educational path very involving and very innovative. We're particularly glad for the generosity of the Ferrero family, who decided to call the SDA Bocconi Auditorium in the memory of Michele Ferrero, an unforgettable person that has honored the world and the creativity of Italian entrepreneurs. And we're also glad to remember Guido Roberto Vitale, who unfortunately died at the beginning of this year, and we have dedicated an executive room. The new campus will host 2 particularly prestigious events. In February, we will host the EFMD conference, which will involve over 350 deans of business schools from the world. And in August, the World Conference of Econometric Society, involving 1,500 participants coming from all over the world. And the campus will be open in August for that. And I would like to conclude by highlighting that Bocconi University is always following its path thanks to the teamwork. Let me thank the president of the university, Mario Monti, the CEO, Riccardo Taranto, who in the academic council and the management manages our university every day. The president of Javot Institute, Angelo Provasoli, vice president of the university, Andrea Sironi, vice president of Advisory Council, Francesco Giavazzi, and the emeritus president of the university that has already been mentioned by President Monti. Let me conclude by saying that in a world where the increasing complexity is there, the challenge of integration of knowledge and skills is the main way to follow, and openness is the main drivers. Bocconi, with the extraordinary help of its students, members of the staff, professors, advisors, members of the board, alumni, and partner institutions, is making its best to follow this principle in the tradition that, since its very origin, mixes passion, professionalism, and innovation.
I would just take the floor I would just like to take the floor with the consent of the chairman and the chancellor. Thank you very much for being so kind with me. I would like to greet, through them, Bocconi University. The deputy chair, I would like to greet the deputy chair of the Constitutional Court, the president of the region, the ambassadors, the general consuls that are present, the mayor, who, when we cut the ribbon at the new campus, stressed out how Milan experienced a new moment of dynamism that is so important nowadays. I would like to greet the chancellors of other universities, all the authorities that are present here, the teaching staff, those who work in Bocconi, the administrative and technical staff, and of course, students. I would like to greet Senator Liliana Segre. Thank you very much for the message you constantly convey that we shouldn't be indifferent to hate and prejudice. Bocconi, with respect to this, is also an answer, also with reference to this topic, with the criteria of education and training that Chairman Monti reminded us when he was cutting the ribbon, the training and education that is aimed at creating critical spirit and sense of responsibility, the true antidotes to hate and prejudice. Bocconi also responds from this point of view with 15,000 students out of the 99,000 students coming from different nationalities with its international dimension. Professor Monti has already spoken about the being included in Europe, trusting Europe, this trust in this historical process of integration that is enhanced and made more solid by this texture of research and education that is common throughout Europe as it's strengthened and reinforced by the growth of a generation of students that feel European beside belonging to their own countries. Bocconi, from this point of view, is also an excellent example of our country. It's one of the most prestigious universities in Europe, a reference point all over the world. The constellation of universities in Milan is a precious asset for your city, dear Mayor Sala and President of the region. It's important for Italy as well. We have just visited the new premises, we have inaugurated the new campus, so this is just another moment that stresses out the role of Bocconi in our country and in this city. The fascinating design that we saw finally created, its full environmental sustainability, the openness to the city. They represent and express what a student just told me a few minutes ago. I believe her name is Giulia Gargiulo. When we entered the building, I met a representation of students, and the girl, the young woman, told me the importance of the centricity of students. The activity of Bocconi as a whole highlights the centricity of students. Professor Monti, you have just reminded us the fundamental importance of preparation, education, training, competence. Your whole speech was in defense of competence. The Chancellor said going through these complex times, we have a risk. We might have delusional trends, attempts at simplifying. It is true, dear Professor Verona, throughout history, novelties, changes have resulted in confusion, desires to go back to the past. This is specifically true these days when we have changes that are so fast and so significant. So the temptation generates the desire to simplify what is complex, but this is just delusional. Because on the other hand, complex changes cannot be overlooked, cannot be disregarded. They need to be dealt with competence and with awareness to govern them in order not to be invested by that. This is extremely important. You also said something else among the various interesting items you mentioned before. You explained the role and the structure of Bocconi, not just in terms of numbers and indication of programs and activities, but also the reasons behind these activities. Dear Mr. Chancellor, you spoke about the need to go beyond the disciplines that are isolated one from each other, that are segregated. This is something that was also mentioned by Chairman Monti. He spoke about an interdisciplinary approach. There is a coincidence. We are coming from a period when we exalted specialization, but we are reconsidering this option. And it's very significant that this happens in the anniversary of Leonardo da Vinci. At that time, he used to span from engineering, hydraulics, art, literature. The fact that these days we are clearly perceiving the need that we cannot imagine knowledge if it's divided and secluded in different sectors. This is true for every subject. This is true in the indispensable, inevitable interaction between medicine and engineering and research, for diagnosis, for therapy. It is even true for economics, which is at center stage in social and civil life. The rector, a few minutes ago, told us with a metaphor that now economics is becoming egocentric. He stressed out as enterprise cannot be interpreted, cannot be only limited to the approach of the shareholder, who almost always only focuses on profit. It cannot coincide with the approach of the manager that aims at success for the sake of success, sometimes because of personal competitiveness. You have drawn an image of an enterprise that participates of society as a whole in its various aspects. And so it's an enterprise that is careful and that is prone to social cohesion, that is in itself a driver of economic growth. This underlines how Bocconi has at its center the complete picture of human beings. And I have this image of the young student who told me a few minutes ago that there are 70 associations of Bocconi students ranging from all aspects of social life. This is a way to express, this is a way for students to express how it is impossible to express just a part of the aspects of human beings. And with this, I wish you all the best for the academic year.
Grazie sentitamente, Presidente, per questa...
Thank you very much, Mr. President, for these words that are going to be part of the history of our university. And with this speech, I hereby declare the academic year officially open, marking the 117th anniversary of the history of our beloved university.
Ciao Mario. Liberi.